Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by my counterpart on the East Coast, Nate Weitzer. Another great article up on playpicks.com for you guys tonight. We did have a gift card winner last night, Nate, so we're going to get that gift card out to Brazil Montgomery. And just in reading the comments, I see some of you guys are still missing your gift card. We are working on getting that out to you. Our producer, wonderful producer Dan, will have that out to you guys very soon. Check your emails for that. And as always, if you do need a FanDuel or a DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Find all those local listings in your area. And let's jump into those lines, Nate, for tonight, the 14th.
Absolutely. He's got a little spicy slate beginning with your Brooklyn Nets +7 at the Sixers. Potential battle for Eastern Conference supremacy there. The Cavs are +3.5 at Hornets right now. Spurs -4 at the Raptors. The Clippers down to -8 in some spots at Pistons. Magic +10 at the Bulls. The Bucks are -9 at the Wolves. The Knicks +2.5 at Pelicans. Pacers -5 at Rockets. Steph and the Warriors -11 at the tanking Thunder. The Mavs are -2 at the Grizzlies. The Heat +4 at Nuggets, who sadly just lost Jamal Murray for the year. And the Wizards finally -1.5 at the Kings with a 240 total between those defenseless teams. Josh, what is your best betting angle tonight looking at those?
I'm going to start with the game everybody wants to watch the most, right? That Philly-Brooklyn game. We don't know who we're going to see for the Nets. That's the storyline of this game, as is most games in the NBA these days, is who's playing. I'm going to be perfectly honest with everybody up front. I have a bet on the Nets to win that division. I put that down at the beginning of the season. So I'm going to hedge it a little bit tonight. I'm looking at Philly. Really, as I mentioned, with the stars potentially out, the Nets had to postpone their game against the Timberwolves from 2 nights ago and play it yesterday, meaning they're now on zero rest, meaning they might not be playing KD tonight as he comes back from injury. Kyrie is questionable and James Harden is out. I'm going to get ahead of this spread, which is at about 5.5 right now. I think if KD was expected to play, you'd see that lower and maybe closer to a pick'em, honestly. So I think there is a lot of betting that KD is not going to play tonight, meaning you've got a Philly team who, they're already going to be able to score down low with Embiid, as, the Nets do not guard the paint well at all. As they're the 23rd worst defense in the league, and they give up a ton of points in the paint. And then you've also got the fact that on defense, the Nets also give up a ton of mid-range shots, which is what Philly does incredibly well. Between Embiid and Tobias Harris, both of those guys put up points from the mid-range at a very high rate. And their defense, we already know what it is. It's the best in the half court when those big three for Philly are playing. As I mentioned, most of what I'm looking at in this game is Philly's going to have its stars. And I don't believe Brooklyn will have at least 2, potentially not all 3. So I'm going to get ahead of a potential blowout, honestly, if none of those net stars plays and take Philly there.
Yeah, and the thing with the Sixers is it means more to them than the Nets, even though they're not an established power. The Nets have guys who are just clearly have been saying, regular season, whatever, we're just going to get ready for the playoffs. We're going to get healthy. Whereas we saw the Sixers when they faced the Lakers earlier this season or someone, and they were healthy. They really treated it like a playoff game, brought that competitive edge on both sides. I agree that if KD and Kyrie both sit, this is probably a blowout in the Sixers' favor. So I would take it early. I would tease it maybe to get it down around -3 and also get the Clippers down around -4. They're at Detroit. And then if those net stars are ruled out, then you're looking at a very cupcake matchup for Philly. If they do play, yes, we're probably looking at a competitive game the other way, but I think the Sixers can still cover 3 points. Yeah.
Yep.
So the game I'm eyeing first, Memphis and Dallas, 2 teams that are struggling to find their identity still at this point, but I think Dallas has found it on the defensive end, at least, going under in 7 of their last 8. They're playing at the slowest pace in the NBA over their last 5. Memphis, in terms of pace, has fluctuated rather wildly from a top tier pace team, and then we saw them against the Bulls their last time out just really slow it down, grind out a win. I think they're changeable in that regard and will adjust to Luka slowing it down, trying to will his team in the half court. The thing that jumped out to me in analyzing this is Luka's numbers against Memphis are horrible. They're probably the worst against any team. He's played 20.6 points per game, under 5 assists, shooting 26.8% from three in 5 career meetings. So I would wait to see the total points, rebounds, assists open for him and consider the under. At the same time, he's been out there complaining about the play-in tournament publicly, so he is under fire to a degree there. Could see him respond. He has responded against winning teams with 31 plus points in 5 of his last 6 against winning teams. But I think unless you're getting extreme odds like you are with a triple-double in a win, plus 1,100, I'm staying away from Luka's props and maybe even eyeing the under, which is something we rarely do. But in a game where we do like the under in general, to Memphis 4th in defensive rating over their last 9 games. We know what Dallas has done since February on defense. So definitely like that under. And I think we like Dallas to pull it out. They have handled Memphis despite Luka's minor numbers in those recent matchups. And you can parlay the Mavs and the under, which is key to their success. You can get plus 260 at DraftKings for some good juice there.
Yeah, I like it. I definitely love the under. I think that's my favorite game tonight. Is under in that game as you watch Dallas continue to slow it down with Luka and try and keep that tempo where they like it. I think actually a big X factor tonight, to your point about the spread there, and if Dallas can pull it out, is Kristaps. Especially with Luka playing poorly against Memphis historically, as you said. Just really looking at the difference between Kristaps being on the floor and him not on the floor. When he starts this season, they're 8 points better than when he does not start. So it's a big difference in their offense and whether or not they can, pull ahead of teams and score enough points to win, which I think they'll be able to do against Memphis, but love that under. So next game I'm looking at, Nate, is my Knickerbockers taking on the Pellies tonight, a Pellies team that continues to just play up and down and up and down. But no Lonzo tonight. I think he's doubtful anyway. I think you're going to see a lot more Zion at point forward, a lot more of those, as you call them, perfectly hefty lefties, and Zion taking on Julius Randle. So we'll see a lot of banging down low. I'm staying away from the total. It's about 219. Although if anything, I do like the over, considering when the Pellies play, the over hits. And when they play bottom 10 offenses in the NBA, they still allow those teams to have an offensive rating well above their usual. So even the bad offensive teams come in and score points on the Pellies. And really, I think, what I'm looking at mostly is just, I think the Knicks can pull this out. They're 6-0 against the spread in their last 6 games. We continue to find value with them. I don't think they should be underdogs. I'm even eyeing a money line close to plus 200 there for them, which I really, really like. And really, at the end of the day, like I said, it's against the spread that they keep getting undervalued. And when they're playing a team that they need to stop them, take away what they do best, the Knicks can do that guarding the 3 just as well as they guard the paint. And then also very effective against mid-range jumpers, which is not really something that the Pellies do anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with my Knicks. We're 12-7 against the spread as road dogs. They cover those games by about at least 3 points each time. So feeling really good, and I'm going to put a little bit on the money line and definitely take those points for the Knickerbockers tonight.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying with the Knicks, and I know that they have come through pretty routinely when underestimated, but I think the Pelicans are being even more underestimated. They had probably the most brutal scheduling stretch of any team this season, and they played 5 games in 7 nights, and I think that's where you saw the inconsistency last week. And then since they've gotten normal rest, they've won 3 straight and actually have the second best defensive rating in the NBA during that span. So again, the total is too scary here, the way these teams play, but I actually like the Pelicans to be able to contain what the Knicks do in the paint more than the Knicks stopping the Pels. And Brandon Ingram is a great mid-range player. I think he can get his against the Knicks team that packs it in. Obviously, we know what Zion's doing, but I think those 2 guys tag teaming. I actually like the Pelicans tonight. We can have a little side bet going on.
I was just about to say, sounds like a side bet is in order.
Last game I'm looking at is those Clippers staying hot, continuing to roll bad teams, and continuing to produce on back-to-backs. They're 9-1 against the spread in that situation this season, and they've covered 7 straight road games on back-to-backs. In Detroit tonight, against a Pistons team that's just trying out all these young guns in the backcourt. That's going to be a recipe for disaster. If Paul George does play, Kawhi Leonard might return and Paul George might sit. You never know. But I think the Clippers will have at least one of those guys. Even if they don't, they have a great offense with guys like Reggie Jackson, Nick Batum kicking out to Luke Kennard. The number one offense in the NBA over their last 11. They've won 9 of those games. And they crush teams from the three-point line. Detroit is allowing the 4th highest three-point percentage over their last 8, coughing up 116 points per game. But they've actually come through offensively, even with Jeremy Grant in out of the lineup, and he's going to come back tonight. Mm-hmm. They've scored 118 points per game in their last 5 against Western Conference teams. That includes a recent loss to the Clippers, in which the total hit 265. So I don't understand why this total is dropping a little down to 219 as we speak. I would definitely hit that. You're looking at it. Pistons team's gone over 8 of their last 12. And as we mentioned the last time we talked these Clippers, now over in 18 out of 24 games against the Eastern Conference. They're now 19-5 straight up against losing teams. And they're averaging about 120 points per game their last 9 against losing teams. Again, like it came through against the Pacers last night, Clippers money line and the over gets you nice plus odds. Or you can tease it down with another game that you like and get the Clippers at a modest spread, but they should take care of business against a really young, bad team.
Yeah, I like it. I'm definitely going to back them, and I really love your idea of teasing them with Philly tonight and getting a little bit more points there and keep it still at about even money, whatever you decide to put on that game, on those games there. So interestingly enough, I love some DFS in the Clippers game. Honestly, I'm going to play whichever star does play for the Clips tonight. I do like the points there. What else are you eyeing for DFS purposes tonight?
My favorite star combo. I mean, we mentioned that Kings Wizards game. And saw what Donovan Mitchell did to the Wizards the last time out. I'm looking at Bradley Beal and De'Aaron Fox stack. And if Buddy Hield is out, Tyrese Halliburton throw in there. Both of those guards are going to eat. Colin Sexton being questionable is intriguing. I think you get Darius Garland, or you go real cheap with Della Vadova if that's the case. Both the Rockets guys on the wing, Kevin Porter and your boy Kelly O, are a bit underpriced as they take on the fast-paced Pacers.
Yeah,
I like potentially stacking them with Karis LeVert, who has a bit of a narrative there with the Rockets trading James Harden and not taking him back in the deal for some reason, and he's been crushing lately.
Yeah.
And one more narrative for you guys: Wendell Carter Jr. going back to Chicago, where he was getting 18, 19 minutes a game. They clearly didn't believe in him and shipped him out of town, so he's going to be motivated to try to eat in that matchup.
Love that. Yep. I'm going to follow you there with Wendell Carter Jr. tonight. That's all the time we have for today's show. Y'all, appreciate it. As always, make sure you are like and subscribe to the page. Jump in those comments. Let us know who you guys are betting on tonight. Really enjoying seeing you guys getting active in there and telling us what's going on and having some comments with you guys as well. So we'll be back with another show for you guys tomorrow as always. And as for tonight, happy betting.